Right. The last one, which was so messy, I talked a bit about week 5. And in week 5, that's when I told myself I need to find life after work. That's where I need to, have a life after work, that teaching is just not the only thing that I do. But then I debated with it, and I was trying to tell myself that, I still need a lot of time to get my quality improved, the quality of teaching, the quality of work, the quality that I'm giving out and all that. I think I need a lot of time to improve on this, and that I don't need a work-life balance. That was the argument that I had with myself in the last episode. Something that I want to talk about is something that happened this week, right? This week, I was a bit more on the edge. I was blasting a bit more, and then I was giving out more threats, like, oh, one more time I see you move, you're standing out for the entire lesson. One more time you say something unrelated, you don't want to know. It's not very good. I had to think on the spot, okay? This is so hard, thinking of things that threaten them on the spot, and different people respond differently to different threats. If you ask them to stand up for the entire lesson, some people will actually be happy to do that. And then if you ask some other people to, I don't know, like just not all threats work, right? So you have to think of something like really threatening. And one of it was like, I was just really mad, to the point where I was like, I don't know what to do except to say, like, I'm gonna do something bad, right? But it made me think, like, because I was giving out so many threats, I was thinking, like, why is it they are so consequence driven? Why is it that I have to give a threat and only do they stop? And I don't want to be feeding this trait. I don't want this to go on. There must be a better way. There must be a more reflective, a more thoughtful, a more mature way. And so I asked ChatGPT. I did. And then ChatGPT said that, instead of feeding this and nurturing this and raising this consequence-driven monster, it's best, or we could actually divert this to being more value-driven, goal-driven. So I agree with that. I think that's a better approach. I think that's a nicer approach than consequence-driven. Now, before I go into value-driven, let me explain why consequence-driven isn't so great. I grew up, just like every other families, in quite a consequence-driven home. If you do this, you get that. If you don't do this, you get that, And now that we are growing up, we actually have to think for ourselves, what do we want to do? And it's very hard. The answer doesn't come straight sometimes, and we wish that somebody could tell us, if I did this, I'll get this. If I didn't do this, I'll get that. But it doesn't work like that. Life just doesn't work like that. And I find myself in many situations where I just do not make the best decisions because I just don't know how, and that's fine. It's fine. But then, this consequence thing is supposed to pose danger. It's supposed to pose like a no-go zone. But someone else who also grew up under this consequence-driven circumstance started seeing danger in a very different light. And how do I say this? In my opinion, from my perspective, I don't think they are exercising a lot of critical thinking, and which makes me think, like, why are you not, And then when I did question this person, I was like, well, what are your values? What are you rooted in? And this person said, oh, no, I don't like to be rooted or grounded in anything. I want to be exploring. I want to be up in the skies. Fair. No, it's good, right? But, like, if you're not grounded in anything, I think that's a huge problem, right? So translating this and putting this into my work, I really want to stop or reduce feeding this consequence-driven pattern that we have going in schools and in just raising children, and really encourage more thinking. And ChatGPT gave me quite a number of good questions, like questioning the behavior and what is the intention behind the behavior. Was it for attention, or was it that you really didn't know? What were you trying to gain in this behavior, with this behavior? And yes, they may seem a bit far-fetched. Yes, they may seem like, oh, they're not going to be able to answer this. But I think that's the point, that there should be questions that children don't know how to answer. There should be questions where children are pushed to try to think and reflect about, We shouldn't just always spoon feed them with consequences and dangers and threats and telling them where not to go and where to go, but like keep asking them, where are you going with this, and prompt them to think about it. And I've tried it a couple of times, right? And you're right, children just don't have anything to say. They just don't know what to say. But I was hoping that in that questioning, in that very, very, very annoying questions of what were you trying to achieve here? I was hoping that after 10 times of asking these questions, they would be able to give me an answer. Or 100 times. Happy to wait. And hopefully this encourages more value driven. This encourages children to know themselves better. And not just do something because there is danger or do something because there is a punishment. I don't find that productive. I went through it. My parents went through it. I don't think the next generation should go through it. Like, we need to change. Times are changing. We have a lot more studies on children now. We have a lot more studies on education and learning and all these other things now. So that's on me. That's on me to learn. That's on me to pick up. That's on me to innovate and to be better. So yeah, this is one of the things that really got me this week. And I'm so happy that I got to this point. What actually got the ball rolling was when I asked my year 9s, like, as a parent, how will you deal with your children's bad behavior? And they said the same thing. Give them a consequence. Give them a punishment. Tell them if you do this, this will happen. Or give them a story of someone who also went through the same thing and this is what happened to them. So you don't want to end up there. Don't do it, It's the same type of parenting that my parents did. And I just find it so old-fashioned. So, strong word, ignorant, backward thinking, old, traditional, not educated. Yeah, I just think we should be better. There are more studies coming out these days. There are more people putting more effort into a lot of things and, the improvement, the betterment of life and all these things. So I think our ways should change. I definitely think we can be better. Yeah. Anyways, this is my rant for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it, but I think we're good for here. 10 minutes, right? Yeah. I also hope the camera is rolling. Alright, let's go.